He said it was just a car, but it wasn't. It was my freedom, my routine, my safety, and he sold it behind my back. No warning, no hesitation, no respect. He thought it made him powerful. He thought I'd stay quiet. But my dad doesn't play petty games. He makes strategic moves. And his one call triggered an investigation that shook my husband's whole family tree. Let's start the story. People always say you can feel when something in your marriage shifts. But for me, the shift came quietly. Not in a fight, not in a bad moment, but in a tiny detail I almost ignored. The way Jake shut the garage door a little too quickly one morning, like he didn't want me seeing something behind him. Looking back, that was the first warning. 8 years of marriage, one daughter, my wild little 6-year-old tornado who thinks my car is basically a spaceship. Life should have felt full. But lately, everything inside our home felt stretched thin, like invisible threads pulling tighter and tighter when I wasn't looking. Jake wasn't always like this. He used to cheer me on, pack lunches, surprise me with coffee before my shifts. But somewhere over the last 2 years, something in him cooled, slowly enough to ignore it first, sharply enough to choke over time. My independence became unnecessary. My job became optional. My needs became extra. And then came the control. Little things, disguised as jokes. Why'd you take the freeway? You used more gas. He only knew because he checked the mileage the second I pulled in, or the time he reorganized the house and moved my wallet into his office drawer. He laughed it off. Relax, babe, I was just cleaning. But there was nothing accidental about it. Then there was the phone thing, the night he casually mentioned a place I'd stopped by that afternoon, even though I never told him. He waved it off as a lucky guess. My stomach didn't buy it. Even our daughter sensed the shift. One afternoon, she whispered, "Mommy, why does Daddy get mad when we go places without him?" I smiled for her sake, but inside, something twisted hard. Still, every now and then, he'd return to his old self, or pretend to. Like the Tuesday he came home with takeout, talking about work like everything was normal. For 2 hours, I let myself exhale. I needed that tiny breath of calm, but the next morning shattered it. I woke early for work, sunlight barely creeping over the fence. Reached for my keys on the hook, and froze. They weren't there. Not on the counter, not in my purse, not in my jacket. A cold prickle crawled down my spine. I stepped outside. The morning air slapped me awake, and my heart dropped. The space where my car always sat was completely empty. No note, no explanation, just silence. And deep down, I already knew Jake had something to do with it. For a full 5 seconds, I just stood there in the doorway, half asleep, half frozen, staring at the empty driveway, like my brain needed time to accept what my eyes were seeing. My car wasn't missing. It was gone. A strange silence settled over the neighborhood. Not peaceful, hollow. Like the kind of quiet that comes right before something breaks. I stepped outside, barefoot on the cold concrete, scanning every corner like maybe it had just rolled down the street on its own. Ridiculous, I know, but shock makes you do stupid things. "Mommy?" A tiny voice behind me. I turned to see my daughter rubbing her eyes, teddy bear in hand, her little face scrunched. "Where's your car?" My throat tightened. I don't know, baby. Go inside, okay?" She didn't move. "Did Daddy take it again?" Again. That word punched me in the gut, because suddenly, memories rushed back. The times Jake borrowed my car without asking. The times I'd find small scratches he'd deny. The times he'd disappear for hours, leaving me stranded at home with no transportation and no explanation. I'd always brushed it off. But this was different. My phone buzzed in my hand, making me flinch. Dealership? Incoming call. I answered, already feeling the dread crawling up my spine. "Hi, ma'am. Just confirming, we're finalizing the sale of your vehicle this morning. The gentleman handling the paperwork said you'd already approved everything." My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might vomit. "What gentleman?" Your husband? Jake Porter? He told us you couldn't make it in and that he'd sign on your behalf." My voice cracked. "He what?" "Everything looked normal on our end, ma'am. He provided the signed consent form." "I never signed anything!" The man on the phone hesitated. Ma'am, the signature matches the one on your registration. My leg merely signed. I couldn't deserve it. He signed invariable vast place. Whatever signed that was not me. Silence. Awkward. Uneasy. You may want to contact the police. If a signature was forged, I'll handle it, I said quickly, ending the call before my voice broke. My heart pounded in my ears. My hands shook. My breath came shallow and sharp. Jake forged my signature. Jake sold my car. Jake did this behind my back, fully aware I rely on that car for work, for our daughter, for everything. The front door opened. Jake stepped outside like nothing was wrong, coffee mug in hand, wearing that casual morning smirk that suddenly felt sinister. "Oh," he said lightly. "You noticed. Not sorry, not surprised, not ashamed. Just smug." That was the moment something inside me shifted, painfully, permanently. And all I could think was, my dad is going to lose his mind when he hears about this. Dad didn't knock. He never does when he knows something's wrong. His truck rolled into the driveway with that deep engine rumble that always made me feel safe as a kid. But today, that sound felt like rescue. I opened the door before they even reached the steps. One look at my face and his expression changed. That calm, deadly serious look he only used the night a neighbor tried yelling in the bottom dow showed the ways that he was once a week. "Where is he?" Dad asked. "Inside," I whispered. I woke up and it was just gone. Dad didn't react big. He never does. He stepped past me, jaw tightening just once, the only sign he was furious. Jake appeared at the hallway entrance, fake confidence plastered across his face. "Morning," he said like nothing happened. Didn't expect company. Dad didn't acknowledge the greeting. He just scanned the table, the paperwork, the empty key hook, every detail. Then his eyes landed on a folded packet sticking out of Jake's laptop bag. "What's that?" Dad asked. Jake shrugged. "The bill of sale." Dad picked it up without asking permission. His eyes locked in on something that made his whole body go still. "Mia," he said quietly, "did you sign this?" My stomach dropped. "No, I've never seen it." Dad handed me the document. There it was, my name, my signature, except not mine. My throat tightened. He forged it. Dad turned to Jake, slow, controlled, terrifying. "Son, you want to explain this?" Jake rolled his eyes. "It's community property, I can sell it. I was just handling finances." Dad's voice dropped an octave. "So you forged my daughter's name?" Jake opened his mouth, closed it, then said, "Why does everyone overreact? It's just a car." "That car is how she gets to work. How she takes your daughter to school," Dad snapped. "Don't insult me." A cold chill slid through my body. "Dad, this isn't the first time," I whispered. "He moved my wallet, checked my mileage. He's been tracking me." Dad's entire posture changed, shoulders square, eyes sharp. He grabbed his phone. "Dad?" I asked, voice shaking. He didn't answer. He stepped outside and made a call, low voice, controlled, the kind of tone he only used when something serious was happening. I heard just 3 words, "Yeah, it's him." Then silence. He walked back in. "Jake," Dad said evenly, "sit down." Jake laughed nervously. "Or what?" Dad didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He didn't blink. He just said, "Because your day is about to get very long, and your family's day is about to get even longer." Jake's face drained of color. Dad didn't sit, didn't breathe, didn't blink. He just locked eyes with Jake like he was reading every lie the man ever told in one glance. Jake tried to laugh it off, tried to act casual, but his voice cracked. "Your daughter's overreacting. It's just a car. Our car." Dad didn't even turn his head toward me. "Did you sign anything, Mia?" My throat tightened. "No, never." Jake rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, I handled it. I found a buyer. I negotiated." Dad cut him off, voice calm but sharper than a blade. "You negotiated with a forged signature?" Jake's smile collapsed, and suddenly the entire house felt solar. Hotter, thicker. Dad took the sales document from the counter, the one Jake swore was no big deal. His fingers traced the line where my name sat in fake ink, shaky and uneven. "I've seen bad signatures before," Dad said quietly, "but this is sloppy." Jake's face went red. I just. Look, my mom told me how to. He stopped instantly. Too late. Dad's eyes narrowed. Your mother told you how to do what, Jake? Jake swallowed. Loudly. Forget it. But Dad didn't forget anything. He took a slow step forward, and Jake instinctively stepped back, like prey realizing it wandered too close to something that bites. You ever forge my daughter's name again, Dad said, and the car will be the smallest problem you have. Jake's bravado crumbled completely now. His braving quickened. His hands fidgeted. Gad? I whispered. What are you thinking? He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. Jake straightened, panicked. What are you doing? Dad didn't look at him, didn't look at me. He just scrolled, found a name, and pressed call. His tone dropped into something I hadn't heard since childhood, the kind he used only when something serious was about to go down. Yeah, it's me. I need you to come by and bring the file. Jake's eyes widened. What file? What file? Dad ended the call without answering. Then he set the phone down on the table with a soft click that somehow shook the entire room. Mia, Dad finally said quietly, turning to me. Your husband isn't the only one who messed with your name. Jake froze mid-breath. My heart slammed into my ribs. Dad, what do you mean? He exhaled slowly, steady, controlled. There's a reason your car was the wrong thing for him to touch. Before I could ask another word, a deep engine rumbled outside. A dark SUV slowed to a stop in front of our house. Jake went pale. Dad didn't move. Mia, he murmured, eyes still on the door. It's about to get bigger than you think. The knock wasn't frantic or rushed. It was controlled, heavy, the kind of knock you hear in movies right before the truth walks in wearing a badge. Dad didn't flinch. Jake did. My breath hitched as Dad opened the door. Two men stepped inside, the same two from the black SUV. Now I could see the details clearly. Tactical boots, plain dark jackets, clipped badges on their belts. Not cops, not patrol. Investigators. Mr. Lawson? The taller one asked. Jake's eyes went wide, his voice cracking. What is this? Dad stepped slightly forward, calm but unmovable. I told you, Mia. This is why I made the call. My stomach fluttered. Fear, adrenaline, disbelief mixing into something sharp. I whispered, Dad, how do you know them? The shorter investigator nodded at him respectfully. Your father filed a report with us years ago about identity misuse in this region. Years ago, a report, my dad. Jake swallowed hard. Identity what? What are you talking about? A taller investigator opened a small folder. We're following up on multiple complaints involving your family's business, your Terrence specifically. Jake staggered back like someone had kicked his chest. Ma, my parents? No, they just run a consulting office. Which, the investigator cut in, has been flagged several times for financial manipulation, unauthorized signatures, and asset diversion. My skin went cold. Asset diversion. Signatures. Dad turned to me, voice low. This is bigger than the car, sweetheart. Bigger. That word echoed in me. The investigator lifted the forged sales document Dad had handed him. And now we have your wife's signature used illegally in a high-value asset transfer. Jake's breathing quickened. It wasn't illegal. I thought since we're married, forgery is forgery, the shorter investigator said. Marriage doesn't magically authorize identity theft. My hands trembled. Identity theft. My identity. My name. I hadn't noticed I was gripping the edge of the table until my knuckles turned white. Jake shook his head violently, pacing. This is insane. My parents said it was fine. They always handle things like this. Gad's voice cut through him. They always handle things like this? Jake, what else have they dragged you into? The taller investigator exchanged a look with the other. That's what we're here to find out. Jake's knees buckled. He sank onto the couch, hands buried in his hair. The investigator turned to me gently. Mrs. Lawson, we'll need a full statement. You're the victim of the forged signature. Victim. Hearing it out loud made something inside me twist. Dad placed a steady hand on my shoulder. Breathe, he whispered. You're safe now. This is only the beginning. And somehow, that scared me more than being in the dark. The living room felt smaller with the detectives inside, like the walls themselves were listening. Jake stood rigid near the couch, fingers twitching, eyes darting like he was searching for an escape route that didn't exist. One detective, Ramirez, placed the forged sales agreement on the coffee table. This isn't the only document with your wife's name on it. My stomach flipped. The room swayed just a little. I grabbed the back of a chair to steady myself. Jake blinked fast. What? No, that can't. I didn't. Ramirez cut him off. We've been investigating your family's business practices for over a year, Jake. Fraud, unauthorized signatures, asset manipulation, and now your wife's name showing up on a forged bill of sale ties her to the open case. My heart slammed. Me? I whispered. Why me? Dad stepped closer, placing a steady hand on my shoulder. You're not in trouble, he said calmly, but your name is being misused, and we're going to fix that. Jake shook his head violently. I swear I only signed the car. Just the car. My parents handle everything else. That sentence hit the air like a gunshot. Ramirez turned sharply. So you knew they were using family names? Jake froze. His face drained white. His lips parted, but no sound came out. Dad's eyes narrowed, that same cold focus he used earlier. He wasn't angry. He was calculating. Detective Hall pulled out a thin folder. She slid out a document and placed it beside the car paperwork. My breath caught. My signature. Again, but not my signature. This, Hall said quietly, was filed last year in connection with a loan under your in-laws' business. Your name is listed as co-signer. My knees buckled a little. Dad caught my arm instantly. Jake stumbled backward like he'd been hit. I didn't know Mom used. I didn't know she told me she'd handle the details. I swear I didn't know. Ramirez raised a brow. So your mother forged not just your wife's name, but potentially yours too? Jake's silence was the answer. Dad exhaled slowly, a sound that made the room tense. I warned you, Jake, he said, voice low but sharp. I warned you the day you told me your mother handled your finances. I told you someone was going to get hurt. Jake buried his face in his hands. I didn't think it was illegal, he whispered. My parents said this is just how the family does things. Detective Hall leaned forward. Well, Jake, how your family does things is about to become a legal matter. A sudden buzz vibrated from Hall's radio. She listened, nodded, then looked straight at Dad. They're bringing your in-laws in, she said. Now. Jake's head shot up in horror. My pulse jumped, because bringing them in didn't sound like a conversation. It sounded like the beginning of a collapse. Jake's parents arrived like a storm, pretending to be sunshine. I heard the car doors slam before they even reached the porch. No knock, no greeting. His mother burst through the doorway with the kind of confidence only people who've never faced consequences walk with. Where is he? She demanded, eyes blazing at Jake. Then she turned that glare on me, sharp, slicing, like I caused all of this. What is the meaning of this? His mother snapped. Her voice cracked like a whip. This is a family matter. We didn't invite you people into our home. Dad stepped forward, calm as ever. This is a family matter, he said evenly. Just not in the way you think, Jake's mom scoffed. You always had an issue with us, didn't you? Ever since Jake married her. Her? I repeated quietly. Say my name. She clamped her lips shut. One of the detectives flipped open a folder. We've matched 2 more forged signatures tied to a business registered under your maiden name, ma'am. Her face drained. Explain yourself. That must be a mistake. Jake's father stepped in quickly. That business has nothing to do with us. It was shut down years ago. The detective raised an eyebrow. Funny, because someone filed a renewal last year with your wife's signature. I felt Jake physically sway beside me. His mother's eyes darted wildly. Not innocent, not shocked, caught. Do you know forgery is a felony? The detective added. And using a family member's identity to open financial accounts is considered coordinated fraud. Jake's dad squared his shoulders. You can't talk to us like we're criminals. Dad let out the softest, coldest exhale. You forged my daughter's name, he said, and you dragged her into your schemes. You don't get to act offended. The room shifted. Even the air felt tighter. Jake stepped forward, voice cracking. Mom? Dad? Did you really? Did you actually sign her name? His mother didn't answer, didn't blink, just looked away. That silence told the truth. My stomach twisted. The panic, the missing keys, It wasn't just Jake's mistake. It was all of them. The detective closed the folder. "We'll need both of you to come with us for formal questioning." Jake's father stiffened. Jake's mother let out a sound, half gasp, half growl. And I realized their world was collapsing from the inside. Suspense loop. The detective turned to me quietly. "Before we proceed, Mia, there's something you need to hear." Jake's parents walked into the living room like royalty who'd just been inconvenienced by peasants. His mom clutched her handbag tight against her chest, chin lifted, eyes scanning the room like she owned the air inside it. His father stepped in behind her, rigid posture, clipped footsteps, simmering irritation barely contained. The detectives didn't stand, they didn't welcome them, they didn't offer a seat, they simply watched, and somehow that said everything. Jake's mom spoke first. "What is the meaning of all this? Why were we summoned to our son's home like criminals?" Dad answered without raising his voice. "No one summoned you. But you're here because your son forged my daughter's signature, something he didn't come up with alone." Jake's father scoffed. "Oh, please. This girl, it's not destined. No one can do that for us. I felt a sting in my chest, but I didn't move. The detectives did. Detective Ruiz stood, flipping open a folder. "Actually, this isn't just about one forged document. It's about a pattern. Multiple documents, bank applications, loan inquiries, insurance adjustments, all connected to your family's accounts." Jake's mom froze. Jake's father's jaw twitched. The tension tightened like a fist closing around the room. Jake blinked rapidly, panic crawling up his throat. What are you talking about?" Ruiz didn't soften his tone. "We've been looking into identity misuse tied to your parents' company for months. Fake signatures, unauthorized credit pulls, employees listed on applications they never signed, funds moving in and out in irregular ways." Jake's mother turned pale. "That's absurd. We run a reputable business." Ruiz nodded slowly. "And yet, your names appear on every complaint." I watched the blood drain from Jake's face. For once, he looked genuinely afraid. His mom tried again, voice trembling now. We didn't authorize anything. Someone must be tampering with our files." Detective Hall stepped forward. "Funny thing is, the same handwriting shows up on the forged documents and the dealership sale agreement your son submitted this morning." Jake's father stiffened. Jake's mom stumbled backward as if someone had shoved her. And then Ruiz delivered the blow. "Ma'am, your signature appears on an insurance beneficiary document filed 2 weeks ago. Changing the primary beneficiary to your son." Silence. Dead cold silence. Jake's head snapped up. "What? I didn't, Mom? What did you?" His mother's lips trembled. "I was trying to protect the family." Oh. My stomach twisted. Dad leaned slightly toward me. "That's what this always was," he whispered. "Not protection. Control." Detective Hall pulled out a second folder. "We'll need all your financial devices. Phones, laptops, external drives. Now." Jake's mom gasped. His father's fists curled. Jake looked between them, betrayed and terrified. And then, Ruiz looked at me. "You might want to sit down," he said quietly. "There's something else we found." The house felt eerily quiet after Jake was taken into the other room for questioning. Too quiet, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. I stood in the center of my living room, my hands trembling against each other, trying to keep up with everything unfolding. Detectives moved with low voices and quick precision, packing up the forged documents, snapping photos of the car sale paperwork, gathering evidence like they'd done this 100 times. Dad stepped beside me, his tone steady, in a way only years of discipline and anger could build. "You doing okay?" he asked. I swallowed hard. "I don't know. Everything feels unreal." Dad nodded once. "It gets real fast. Just breathe." Before I could respond, the hallway door opened and 2 detectives walked Jake out. His wrists weren't cuffed, not yet, but his entire posture sagged, like the truth had finally crushed him. "Mia," he whispered, eyes red and frantic. I swear I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I was just controlling me?" I finished for him. He flinched so hard it looked like the word itself slapped him. One detective stepped between us. "Sir, you need to keep distance." Jake tried again. I didn't know my parents used her name. I thought it was just a car, Mia. No, I said quietly. You thought it was just control. And you thought I wouldn't fight back. His face crumpled as they guided him outside toward the SUV. His mother and father were waiting on the driveway's edge, stiff, furious, trying to maintain dignity while detectives explained charges and questioning procedures. Jake's mom snapped, "This is ridiculous! Our family has never—" "Ma'am," the detective cut in, "you're being brought in for your role in identity misuse. You will have your turn to speak at the station." Her voice caught mid-protest. Jake's father paled under the porch light. And just like that, 3 generations of control collapsed in front of my house. As the black SUV doors shut and the engines hummed to life, Dad exhaled sharply. "I should have stepped in sooner," he murmured. "I knew something was off the moment he stopped letting you drive alone." I shook my head. "You showed up exactly when I needed you." Just then, tiny footsteps padded down the hallway. My daughter rubbed her sleepy eyes and whispered, "Mommy, are we okay?" My throat tightened. I knelt down, brushing her hair back gently. "We're going to be okay," I whispered, voice breaking but steady. "I promise." She hugged me, small arms wrapping around my neck like she was anchoring me to the earth. Dad rested a hand on my shoulder. "One more thing," he said quietly. "Before you think this is over, you need to hear what the detectives just found." I froze. "What now?" Dad's jaw tightened, a protective storm forming behind his eyes. "Something big." The house felt hollow after the detectives left, quiet in a way that didn't feel peaceful but cleared out, like all the poison had finally been scraped off the walls. Dad stayed with me while Jake was taken for questioning. He didn't say much, just sat on the couch across from me, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. That was his thinking posture, his calculating posture. Hours passed before my phone buzzed. "Detective Morales, we need you at the precinct." "There's more you need to know." My stomach twisted. "More?" Dad drove me. The whole ride felt unreal. Streetlights sliding across the windshield, the low hum of the engine, my fingers cold even though the heater was on. When we stepped inside the precinct, Morales and his partner were waiting. "Sit," Morales said gently. "You're not in trouble, but you deserve the full picture." They laid out everything. Jake had put 2 credit lines under my name, one maxed out, one used to funnel money into his parents' consulting business, which was being audited for fraud. His parents had been investigated before, but they always used the younger family members' names to deflect responsibility. Mine was next on the list. Morales nodded. "Completely. Your quick report protects her. We flagged every suspicious document. She's safe." I exhaled, shaky, unbelieving. They continued. Jake's parents were being detained for questioning. Their home was already being searched. Their business accounts frozen. Jake's actions today triggered a full investigation. When we finally left, the sky was pink, the kind of sunrise that looked too gentle for the chaos it followed. Back home, Jake was sitting on the porch, released temporarily. But this wasn't the man I married. His shoulders slumped, eyes hollow, hands clasped like he was holding himself together. "Mia." He stood up, voice breaking. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." "You did," I said quietly. "You always knew. You just didn't think I'd fight back." He crumbled then, tears, apologies, excuses, but I didn't move toward him. Not anymore. Dad stepped beside me, solid as a wall. "You need help, son," he said. "But that's not her job anymore." Jake looked shattered, but that wasn't my responsibility now. I turned to Dad. "Can we go?" He nodded. "Let's get you your new car today." And as we walked away, Jake whispered my name, soft, broken. But for the first time in years, I didn't turn back.